Did you know 70% of CMOs are now responsible for steering their company's AI initiatives? Find out what it takes to be a successful CMO in the new AI-powered era of marketing. Download our playbook, Driving Growth in the AI Era, exclusively from Zeta Global. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Banking and Payment Show, a behind-the-numbers podcast from EMARKETER made possible by Zeta Global. Today is February 11th, 2025. I'm Rob Rubin, Head of Business Development at EMARKETER, and your host today. Today, we're going to chat about what's going to happen in the crypto market now that Trump is back in the White House. And joining me are EMARKETER analysts Grace Broadbent and Tyler Van Dyke. Hey, guys, how you doing?
Hey, Rob. Happy to be back.
Hi, I'm happy to be here today.
Yeah, I'm happy to have you guys back. Tyler, you haven't been back, especially in a while, so I'm so happy to have you. I wanted to, especially because you guys haven't been back, and I thought it would be fun because I'm not quite sure if you guys are young millennials or old Gen Zers, but you're in that sort of ballpark, and maybe I'm a few generations older. So I thought it would be fun if we took some of the expressions from my youth and see if you know what they mean.
Oh gosh, let's do it.
All right. Or if you know where it came from.
Okay.
Be kind, rewind. Where did it become famous? Be kind, rewind.
If I had to guess, it would be Blockbuster.
Damn,
the expectation that you rewind the VHS before you return it.
That is right.
I would not have gotten that one.
What's your bag?
What's your bag?
Gen Zers, we say, let's go get this bag.
Nope,
is that
totally
similar?
What's your bag? Is like, what's your problem? Like, why are you upset?
Oh, that's not one I've heard before.
Why are you crashing? That's a Gen Z expression.
Yeah. I'm crashing out right now. I'm
crashing
out during this conversation.
Right. You're wigging out. That's an old expression. All right. Well, that was fun. Before we jump into our discussion about what's next for crypto now that Trump is president again, I wanted to give everybody sort of a quick background of how we got here. So when Trump was president from 2017 to 2021, he made no sweeping crypto ban or any monumental regulation, but he generally had a skeptical tone on Twitter at the time, and any enforcement was really done at an agency level. Now, under the Biden administration, there were more formal efforts to coordinate federal oversight, and the SEC definitely took a stricter stance on crypto projects and exchanges. Now, during the recent campaign, Trump actually actively courted the crypto community, and he made some promises, after the election in November, in fact, he and the First Lady launched their own meme coins. So now he sort of likes crypto. So with that background, let's get into the headlines. In the headlines, I choose an article about the topic and we discuss it. And today, I chose an article from a few weeks ago in Reuters, Crypto Markets Steady After Trump's First Policy Move. The article covered what's going on with Bitcoin and Trump's first policy move. So let's start with Grace. Can you give us your take first on what's going on with Bitcoin since Trump won the election?
The biggest news is it passed the $100,000 milestone, a milestone the community has been waiting for years and years to finally happen. It happened very soon after the election. It was right after Trump nominated Paul Atkins to the SEC chair, which we think helped get the price right over that bump. Paul Atkins is a strong crypto advocate. He's co-chaired crypto advocacy organizations in the past. So his nomination really set it off.
Tyler, what do you think? What has he done with Bitcoin? Has it been working for them?
Well, so far in terms of concrete things, he hasn't done very much. The biggest thing was the executive order that he signed shortly after he was inaugurated. That basically had four main parts. The first thing he did was revoked a Biden executive order that, established a working group to study things like CBDCs and crypto legislation.
Because we don't need any legislation, or because?
Well, presumably because
Who needs that?
Presumably because he didn't like the legislation that they were going to come up with.
Okay.
The second thing that he did was he explicitly banned the creation of a CBDC.
Can you just sort of tell everybody what a CBDC is?
Sure. A
In case they don't
CBDC
know.
is a central bank digital currency. It is basically
Like a stable coin
it's
or
like a stable coin that's issued by the government itself. So,
it's backed by the full faith of the government?
yes.
People often refer to it as a digital dollar. People might be more familiar with that terms. It really would just be, yeah, like a dollar just fully digitized.
So he's banned that. We don't do digital dollars.
Yeah, he doesn't like it. A lot of Republicans typically don't like it. So it's out of here.
Okay. What else was in the executive order?
He also established his own working group and set some deadlines for them to review existing regulations and propose new regulations and presumably also some legislation that would go to the Congress.
So that seems all sort of fairly standard fare. Like I'm going to shut his working group down and
make
sort
my own. Yeah.
That's the
Very
thing,
common,
right?
common
Yeah,
for a
they
new
must all do
administration
that.
to come in. And then the last thing that the executive order did was try to protect, quote unquote, crypto's access to the banking system. This stems from the alleged choke point 2.0 allegations that the industry said the Biden administration and regulators were trying to basically cut them off from the banking system.
Wasn't that because of the money launderers?
Because of the money launderers, the FTX explosion, the crypto crash. Yeah, all those great things.
So their order was to stop that, like so that we don't protect ourselves? Is that what they're ordering?
Well, it's unclear what specifically it's referring to. There was never, the Biden administration never issued an executive order or passed any legislation that said, we are cutting off the crypto industry from the banking system. Regulators did issue guidance saying to be very careful when you're dealing with crypto. There are rules about how crypto had to be reported. One of the other things that the SEC did after Trump's inauguration, they revoked a guideline that was published during the Biden administration that forced institutions to treat cryptocurrencies like liabilities. That was something that the industry hated, and they have been.
Aren't they an asset?
They are now.
But I mean, they're treated like an asset in terms of how investors think of them.
Yes, we treat them and think of them as assets, but for reporting purposes, the SEC said that you had to treat them like a liability because of how risky they were.
Okay.
And so that has been repealed.
So a risky asset is a liability.
Apparently, it was, but not anymore.
Okay.
I was just going to add one more thing about the executive order and going back to them banning the CBDC as part of the wording in that. They did decide that they are going to now prioritize private dollar-backed stable coins, so that we expect the administration really to be pushing this privatized stable coins instead of that. And so I think we will see some movement towards that in the future as well.
What's a meme coin and why does Trump have one?
Why does he have one is a very good question. A meme coin is basically just any cryptocurrency that is named after a person, a corporation, a figure, a cartoon, an influencer.
It's a tradable asset, though.
It is a tradable asset. There's no intrinsic value to it or anything like that. But Trump did launch one a few days before the inauguration.
But there is a value, right? Like if you can get someone to pay you for it, if you buy it, and then you can get someone to pay you for it as a value.
Yes, I mean, it has as much value as any cryptocurrency, as opposed to obviously a stable coin's a different conversation. But yes, it has the same value as a Bitcoin theoretically. They're just meme coins tend to be way more volatile as assets. We've seen many launch and fail almost immediately. And we are already seeing that with Trump's meme coin on around the 24
Right.
hours around his inauguration. It crashed about 50% from its peak.
Pump and dump is a story as old as time.
Yes, yes. And Melania Trump has one as well. They launched that about a day after Trump's did. And it's actually interesting. They're now almost starting to push them as a payment method as well. Some of the Trump branded websites that are selling his merch, like his sneakers,
Oh.
his perfume, his
So
watches.
you can pay with Trump
You
coins?
can now. You can buy Trump merch with Trump coin.
So if you bought a Trump coin, I don't know what they're worth, but let's say they're
about $17 right now.
So each Trump coin is worth $17. So if they're selling like Trump merch for 10 coins, then when the coin goes up, you get more. When the coin goes down, you get less, because it's not like buying it with $1 where the values don't change very much from day to day.
Yep, that's exactly, yeah. The merchandise has like a fixed dollar value. And so whatever that calculates out to for the meme coin, it's just what you end up paying.
So let's just suppose then that a country or an entity decided that they wanted to buy like a zillion container loads full of Trump stuff, and they would pay using the Trump meme coin. Could they do that?
Yeah,
Absolutely, yeah.
there's no reason not to.
Who would benefit from that?
Trump.
I know.
But no, I mean, there is no argument for using meme coins as a payment method. It really does not make sense. It's not a viable payment instrument at all.
But it could be viable for other things,
It's viable for
like for
investments.
currying favor.
Yes, or that. Absolutely.
This gets us to our final segment today, the rankings. I'm going to read 4 different potential outcomes for crypto over the next 4 years, and we're going to rank them from most to least likely to occur. So the number 1 is the one that's you think is for sure going to happen, and the number 4 is something that it might happen, but it's less sure than the first one. So the first one is, despite an executive order saying otherwise, U.S. launches a digital dollar in the next 4 years. U.S. establishes a Bitcoin reserve. So now the U.S. government owns Bitcoin as a reserve. The third is, as we were talking about the Trump coin, Trump gets in trouble for that. It's violating the Emollients Clause. He finds that countries and individuals and corporations are actually currying favor with that meme coin and causing a problem. So that's one potential outcome. And then the US is going to greatly expand its Bitcoin mining capabilities as a result of executive action. So Trump is going to decide that minted in America is going to be important, or mined in America. So he's going to want to make sure that we're really finding our Bitcoins. So you guys have had a chance to review that. So let's go through, and you can put your numbers down on the table here, and then we'll go through. So the first one, we can call it a digital dollar before the end of the 4 years, a Bitcoin reserve, Trump gets in trouble, and there's Bitcoining in the US.
Okay, I'm ready.
Wait, Rob, it looks like we're filling this out differently.
We are supposed to fill them out differently because we have different opinions.
But is 4 most likely or least likely?
Least likely.
Least likely. Okay.
I think you're just surprised at my choices, is what you're saying. I think you said that you all both said you put 4s, as he is not going to they're not going to have a digital dollar in the next 4 years. And I said that that's the one that's most likely to occur. And I'm just playing off of the ego of Trump. And it's going to turn around before the end of 4 years, that it would be a good thing that he did that for him. So that's why I say 1. I think you guys are saying, tell me, it's because of the executive order.
And my argument isn't that Trump can't change his mind on the executive order, but I do think Republicans as a whole have stayed firm in the past 5 or so years that they are very anti-digital dollar, solely for mainly privacy concerns. They're scared it would give the government more power to watch your transactions.
Now I want to go to your number 1, Grace, because that's so interesting to me. More Bitcoin mining.
So that was one of the many campaign promises Trump gave in the crypto industry. He really wants crypto. He wants the rest of crypto that is mined to be, quote, made in the US. It kind of goes along with his larger push for basically any good or service. He wants it to be made in the US, a very US centric approach. And I think that fits into like his larger philosophies. And I think there's potentially less regulatory pushback on that particular initiative than maybe some of the other ones we are about to discuss, or like the digital dollar.
So the argument about fossil fuels.
Yes, but that has never been top of concern in his agenda.
All right. Now, Tyler, you put your number one as the Bitcoin reserve, that the US is going to establish a Bitcoin reserve.
Yeah, I think of the things that we're choosing between, I think that's the most likely, just because it's probably the easiest to do. I'm not a lawyer or a legislator. I don't think it requires like specific, like a bill to be passed for this to happen. The FBI already gets Bitcoin when they recover it from like ransomware attacks and things like that. So somewhere, presumably, the federal government already has a wallet. And so I'm not going to say I think it's definitely going to happen, but I think it has the best odds in this list.
Right.
His executive order did direct agencies to explore it as well. And that was two crypto advocates were a little sad that it didn't go all the way in establishing one, but at least made the first baby step. So there's progress being made towards it, which is why I put it as number 2 for me.
Yeah, and I had it as number 2 as well.
Yeah.
And we all had between 2 or 3 for the Trump gets in trouble for his Trump coin. So I think we all think no one's going to be too surprised when there's news coming out about somebody buying a lot of it.
Yeah. And so, I mean, of course, Democratic lawmakers have already taken issue with it. They did so almost immediately, led by Senator Warren. They did send a letter to Treasury Department, SEC, other agencies to look into the legal and ethical questions of it. So I don't think it's a matter of will there be concerns around it? It's more so a question of will there be any action?
Yeah, but will there be like an issue?
Yeah,
will like something that's a fact, like look what's going on.
Yeah, and will there be any sort of actual action or punishment in the source is really the question up in the air.
You know, we've been going back and forth on all this. I want to just say that I'm going to give up. I put that they were going to set up a digital dollar as number 1 because I knew you guys were going to make it number 4. I was just trying to be contrarian. I don't know if he's going to do that. I sort of think we all agree that a Bitcoin reserve is probably pretty likely. Shenanigans are going to happen with the Trump meme coin, probably. I wasn't so sure about what role the federal government can play in more Bitcoin mining, or that might be more state-oriented incentives to create these data farms, data centers to do that. I'm not really sure how it all works. That's why I put mine as number 4 for that, because I don't know how much the federal government can really influence that.
Yeah.
Maybe in partnership with the state.
Yeah, I agree. There will be state level actions involved.
The other thing that we have to consider now is that all of our energy needs to go toward AI now. I mean, you have, Microsoft reactivating 3 Mile Island, which it's right outside my hometown. So that was big news when that was announced. And so I think from an investment perspective, people are going to be much more likely to use that power for AI rather than for Bitcoin mining.
My kids were playing with ChatGPT, and then they actually got upset when they realized that they were wasting electricity.
Very eco-conscious children.
Right. I don't want to ask it too taxing a question. Before we finish, this has been great. I wanted to talk about what do we think the crypto landscape is actually going to look like at the end of the year? Is it going to be, I mean, me personally, I think Bitcoin has firmly established the gold standard, the most stable of all. So it's going to be where it is or stronger. What do you guys think?
I agree. I think Bitcoin, has established itself as the main investment asset. I also think The Trump administration is definitely going to bring more regulatory clarity to the industry and more cooperation that, especially as an analyst, I follow the payments industry super closely. And I definitely think we're going to see a larger crypto payments push, which is going to be interesting. We've already seen like the CEO of Bank of America said, they're ready to move it all in on crypto payments as soon as the regulation is established. So I think we'll see some movement towards that with more financial institutions getting deeper into crypto this year.
All right. That's going to be really interesting for Know Your Customer in terms of making those payments.
Yes.
Well, I think this has been a fantastic show. I really thought it was a lot of fun to talk about. My brain is like spinning right now, trying to think of all the things we've been talking about and what could happen. I want to thank everyone for listening to the Banking and Payment Show, an eMarketer podcast made possible by Zeta Global. Also, thank you to our editor, Victoria. Our next episode is on March 11th, so be sure to check it out. See you then. Bye, Grace. Bye, Tyler.
See ya.
Bye, guys. Thanks, Rob. This was so fun.